it.
No, please.
No, you do it, man. You got the bim. No, you do it.
Why? He's offering it to everyone. Chuckie, introduce. Why don't you do it?
Trust even. Nah. Alright, cool.
Okay, cool.
Welcome to this week's episode of TimeLin3, guys. We've got a special guest with us in the building today. We've got Chuckie from the Half Class Podcast.
Yes, what's going on? Yes. What's happening?
We're going to get straight into it. We're going to jump into our weekly roundup for this week.
Yep.
First on the agenda, it is
SpacNation.
SpacNation.
Break this down, cause I don't know where I'm going with that.
Values and Bibles, bro.
Values and Bibles, for real.
Well, okay, to break it down, basically, so we've got this church called SpacNation. Let me not say we.
It's a church.
There's a church/business called SpacNation, okay?
Yep.
And SpacNation's mantra, from what I understand and what a lot of people have said to me, okay, not to quote them exactly, is that money is a very important influence to be able to influence people outside of the church and to be able to build the black community.
Okay.
So a lot of the things that they do, if not everything that they do, seems to be focused around money. So, for example, their idea is if you're on the roads, I'll bring you into the church, set you up with money to start a business, get some lubes, get this and that, and what they do?
Get some lubes.
They've got lubes. Listen, they're living, yeah, and you'll be able to go out into the community.
Are they giving man cash? Because if they give man cash, man might just go out there and buy food. They might just go and buy food with it and like some drugs and that and try and flip that. So are they giving cash or are they actually signing?
I think there's actually signing.
I think they're actually signing. But what it is now a lot of these pastors, because they're ordaining a lot of people as pastors, straight from the roads.
Is it pastors or pastors, by the way?
So it's like plantain and plantain.
No, it's definitely plantain.
Yeah, of course. Say it.
Cool.
It's definitely plantain.
So they got raided this week. Yeah, church got raided.
Oh, for real?
Yeah, church got raided. They run up in there on some SWAT team stuff.
You didn't even sound
That's mad. Did they get anything?
So what the officer who raided the building, what he said is that the feds stopped one of the guys in a nice car and he sped off straight away. So because he sped off, they didn't have enough time to check if the car was stolen. They just worked off the assumption it must be if he sped off like that. So as the raid now takes place, the next day, people have now taken it, and a certain person said that the actual reason why it got raided is because one of the pastors is a rapist.
Jesus.
Yeah. So it's just insane. It's so insane. So much stuff going on, and it's kind of the interesting thing for me, and I want to get your opinion on this. Can you take somebody from the roads straight to becoming a pastor?
Before you answer, just a bit more history. This church is famous as well because they had like, you see K-Trap, how he wears a valley. Like, they had like a rapper in the church with a valley, like spraying like gospel bars. Like,
I was spitting bars.
Yeah, like gospel bars.
Like. Oh my God!
I'll shoot you in Jesus' name.
Yeah.
No,
Didn't say that, but yeah.
Do you know what? Yeah, if people are coming off the road and trying to be productive and trying to change their life or whatever, however you go about doing that, that's completely up to you. If you ask me, I think more churches should be raided, to be fair. I'll tell you why. Because if you ask me, I'm seeing the way that I'm seeing certain pastors moving these days, and the peas that they got, and the money that they're generating, and the lifestyle that they're living, there's a question to be asked about money laundering and all of that. So if they raided some of the churches, they might find a stash of peas at the back. So that's my thing. But if they're trying to do a good thing with the because there's so much madness going on with the kids right now. No one has a solution. No one knows what to do. These kids are stabbing each other. If they're trying to find a solution and it's coming from a good place, and they feel like, you know what, we're making a little bit of money, this pastor might be saying to himself, you know what, I've already got X hundred of grands anyway from the church. Why don't I start spending the money on the youths on what they invest in? Then why not?
Speaking of spreading messages, Fredo, he posted a video during the week. Did you see it?
No.
He was basically saying he wants to go on a 2-week weed vacation. He said, I don't want to misquote. Did he say he's addicted to weed?
So
Or he
it's
feels?
got it moving like a nitty.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
feels like he's got it moving like a nitty, and you know he doesn't like the effect that it's having on him. And
Yeah.
he wants to go on a 2-week weed vacation. He was like, man, them who wants to put money in, let's just all go on a vacation. Or you say, on Marbella or something, and just just a weed-free vacation. And you know, I can sense, you know, there's a little bit of joke in it and whatnot.
Yeah.
But it is quite an interesting thing in terms of society and how we see weed and people ignoring the fact that it can have mental effects on you.
Yeah.
It can lead to psychosis. It can lead to all of these different things. Do you think, in terms of the music that promotes weed culture, you've got people like Black the Ripper who's smoking everywhere, things like that, and people are really bigging it up, things like that. Do you think that this is a negative thing in our culture, or it's fine? What's your,
Do you know what? Like, there's a small part that a part of me disagrees with you on, just a little bit, yeah. And I'm not a weed smoker, so I'm just saying this out of pure ignorance, even though I had a weed cake one time, but that's a different story, yeah. That's a different story. But the thing is, if he's saying, like, if he's trying to spread a message of saying, like, stop smoking skunk weed, then I get it. Because I know enough people that smoke enough skunk weed and they've gone kind of crazy. But if you're smoking proper weed, I don't know a person who has gone mad off weed. And some people are able to function better by smoking natural weed, like proper weed. So if you find for you that it slows you down, or that, and I'm talking about natural weed here.
Yeah.
If you're talking about natural weed and it slows you down or whatever, and you can't focus properly, and you find that when you're not on it, you're better in the studio or you work better or whatever, then so be it. But there are some people that actually just function better by smoking natural weed. But the general message should be to tell these lots, stop smoking skunk weed, because that definitely is not good for
But a
you.
lot of men don't even know what they're smoking.
Yeah.
This is it.
People
Yeah.
last on the weekly roundup before we jump into the main discussion. Femi, I'm moving like a supply teacher right now. Oyeniran, yeah. He came at Noel Clarke very, very aggressively.
Gave him that work. Did he give him that work?
He gave him that work still.
I think
Saying,
it was quite polite.
He
Really, yeah?
Nah, he atted him.
yeah,
It wasn't
atted him.
at, but it wasn't vicious.
He
Like,
atted him, yeah.
How did he act? Did it start with
Yeah,
him
it
in the
started-
act, or was he in the act later on down the tweet?
This was it?
That's key.
This,
From the top still.
yeah,
From the top.
Right, straight from the
So
top.
he was in. Yeah, he
why
was
was
in.
he
chatting
angry?
my
Why was
name.
it? Could you break it down to me? Why was
He
he
was saying, I
upset?
don't know why you're chatting my name.
Yeah.
When
I
was
don't
he chatting
know
his
what-
name?
We don't know.
This-
That's
this
what I'm
is
saying.
this
But
is
it's
me.
come onto the timeline now.
Noel Clarke has not left character since Kiddo. That's what I've started to believe. I think Noel Clarke is still in character. Because, is it me or does nobody like him since
Yeah,
Kiddo?
he's-
Nobody
yeah.
likes him.
I like him.
He's been stealing Game Boys ever since. Because Adam Deacon doesn't
Yeah.
like him, and a lot of the people didn't even return for the last movie because of whatever different reasons. And now
Yeah,
Femi has basically.
Femi dropped that
Yeah.
line as well. He said, "You're a big man."
Yeah,
to be chatting
like-
my name.
Is it?
That
Yeah.
one. That one touches the
Did
soul
Noel
when you
Clarke
say
come back?
that.
Did he say anything?
No, I don't think he said
didn't say
anything.
nothing.
Nah.
Yeah, he never usually responds. He didn't like when Adam Deacon was having his thing, he was going mad at Adam, and Adam never. I mean, and Noel never replied. But my thing is, and maybe he did do this, but I do always just think that like, if you like, say you have been saying some stuff about me or whatever it is, I'm ringing around first to get your number.
Yeah.
Because I just have to, we need to address this thing on the phone,
Yeah.
and we need to have a conversation about it. So I always just, when I see the tweet stuff, I always just think like I don't, like, address it on the phone first. If you can't get through to a man or whatever, then maybe I could see why you might do that. But you know what, if it's that deep, ring him, have a conversation with him, or send him a one text message, listen you pussy, or don't like the way that blah blah blah. You get what I'm saying? And do that. Like just the Twitter stuff, like
The Twitter stuff.
I just don't, maybe that's my age though.
But do you know what the thing is though?
They're older than you, I'm sure.
Yeah, maybe.
Do you know what the thing is? If you've seen someone kill your friend with a baseball bat,
I'm done.
unfortunately, you might not be with it.
Next one.
Like, Noel Clarke is there staring at his back like, alright, keep at him.
Say that. Just sitting there
I'm
like
done with Woody.
So Chuckie, I saw you was asking what people wanted you to discuss in terms of the Half Class podcast in your next episode and whatnot. And I saw a lot of the questions that people were posing towards you were based around drill music and drill, everything drill. And we just sort of wanted to ask and get the opinion of everybody on the panel. Do you think drill music is bigger than grime ever was? And before we go into reasons why, can I just get a yes, no, yes, no?
Yeah.
I can't just answer you. I need more clarity. When you say ever was, are we talking about today or are we talking about when they first started?
Since from the inception till today, is that what we're saying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, from the start of both to today?
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
Yes.
I'm a straight no. And yeah, but you said yes, so please, come on, give me. I need some.
I think
reasoning here.
First of all, culturally, the impact of drill is like has been bigger than grime. What grime ever was, because grime was like grime. We loved grime growing up. We really loved grime when we were growing up. So, but the impact that it had was like, we would sing along to the bars and stuff like that, but the bars were like, okay, if someone's saying I'll crack your skull, it's like, that's funny, like you're not really gonna go and crack someone's skull. But for example, today I was like, I do supply teaching, so I was in a pupil referral unit where kids get kicked out of school when they go there. So I was talking to one of the boys, he had a wristband that said someone's world on it. Obviously I know that means that someone's died. So I said to him, oh, who died? He said, oh, my friend died 2 years ago. And I was like, raw, what happened? He said, yeah, the ops stabbed him. So that's the first sign, the ops.
That's nuts.
So then he was like, so it went quiet, because I was like, I don't know, I felt bad for him because he saw it went quiet. Then he looked up at me and he goes, but you know what? We got down 2 this week anyway. I was like, what?
That's nuts. I know, I've heard them talking like that.
I was like, what? And the thing is, I was thinking, where have I heard that before? And that's a Heady One lyric. Gang got down 2 this week.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking, well, these guys are actually living this week. Grime was like, man, I skanky, like drill is like, everyone's slow, like everyone's doing this, ching ching.
But
like,
the thing is, what I'm having difficulties trying to understand here, are you comparing the beginning stages of both? Because if you're comparing the beginning stages of both,
that's a better match if we compare the beginning.
Because the reason why it's difficult to have that type of conversation is because drill music, in essence, is what? Like, here, UK-wise, is no older than 5 years.
yeah.
Grime is, like, almost 20 years old, And when you talk about impact, like, when you're talking about impact and stuff that it's done, like, you look like, just, I'm going to give you 2 examples that are very different, You look at Skepta, like, where he has managed to take grime internationally and the impact that has made, to the point that he's even able to break the internet with Naomi Campbell one time doing that thing. But also another example is that what a lot of people don't know, if you're a proper grime fan, you'll know that someone like D Double is touring the world to like real dedicated grime fans in Australia, China, Australia, I just said that twice, America, all over the place, like literally Africa, all 4 corners of the world. Drill, like, it's making a big impact today, but I think more so just here in England, and also in the greater scheme of it, to quite a small demographic of people. It seems loud, don't get it twisted, it seems loud because we're in it.
Yeah.
Because we're in it. But outside of that, I think this is a mistake that we make sometimes as well. I'm not saying this is just about drill music here, but a parallel to this is that, like, one thing that we've been guilty of a lot in London is thinking that London is a representation of the whole country. It's just not.
Thank you. This is what I'm saying. Like, for me, it's insane to even compare the two when you presented the question to me, because I just personally feel like grime is a culture. Do you know what I mean? Grime is an actual culture.
I think drill's getting there,
Drill's
though.
a culture.
Yeah.
Drill's a sound.
No, it's a culture.
Drill is a sound.
I think
drill
you're
is a
older.
sound. And sorry to cut you off.
Go.
Drill's a sound. And before we even name me one successful UK drill rapper.
Yo, this
Yeah,
is
but
it.
it's gonna happen.
Oh, yeah.
There's songs
Big
now.
Shaq.
This guy.
What?
This guy.
Am I lying?
Listen, name me one
But
successful UK. Okay,
well, first of all, I think all of us, that when you listen to drill, you have very young voices. Like them man are like 20, 18. I would even go as far as 17.
And
So-
14, 15.
See, there you go.
SL
So
like
I feel like their target audience, like we're old heads to them. Do you know what I mean? They're spring chickens. We're like ostriches. Like we're like I don't feel like we're their target audience. But if you give it a chance, it's really, really good music. And I think there's a lot that's out there right now that could chart. That could
I'm
actually
sorry,
chart.
I'm gonna disagree with one
Go on.
I don't know
thinking.
about that.
I don't
No.
think drill can
With
chart.
one, no drill.
Let me just address this. Let Oyinbro's take it into their heart a little bit. Let them like be a bit more comfortable with it. I'm telling you, it could. Nah, listen,
let me tell you something now.
they don't know what they're saying.
I don't think
Who are the top drill artists?
People don't even know what they're saying though.
K-Trap,
Heady One.
Heady One,
Yeah.
Abracadabra,
Yeah.
SL,
So Lowski.
Lowski.
Now, what I'm gonna say to you is, I personally feel that most of them, as they've sort of progressed, their sound has been changing. Lowski's new single, Cool Kid, ain't even drill because they know. They know.
But what I will say to flip the coin on his head, yeah. If you're gonna make a comparison of them at the start, I could see an argument for why you might feel that drill has had a bigger impact, but that might just be the fact that the game, the way that the game was in terms of social media was a lot different.
No, Grime
Do you get what I'm saying? So
drill.
now you're saying that, like, see, like when Grime was becoming a thing, it was very London based, and you know what, like there might have been a lot of people that were Manchester, Sheffield, and all of that caught onto it a little bit late as the seeds were being planted. Whereas now, because we're in such a direct to consumer industry, that like someone like, let's just say for example like Heady One can just put something out on his social media and it can literally get to all of these different people and it can start making an impact that way. So I can see why on the branch, like when you're branching it out like that, I get that, but that might just be a social media thing. However, like I just remember a time like the impact that like Grime had was, it was huge, bro, and not even just musically, but in terms of how we dressed and all of that. And I'm not 100% sure. But I'm not 100% sure that. And this is because I'm older now, innit? So you might have to answer this, or someone here can answer. But like, do drill artists influence the way that young people dress?
Man killed 2 ops.
No, influenced by the way that they dress, though.
I think.
Or is it just like? Or is it UK hip hop? Or is it UK hip hop in general?
We're not feeling it, but they do.
Aside from masks.
Wow, that's
videos. No, because that's a music video thing. Aside from masks, in music videos.
What do you mean that's a music video thing?
Yeah. You don't actually see people wearing masks.
You don't actually see people wearing masks on a daily basis.
Listen, at the end of, what I was going to say, so it touched on your point. With Grime, what Grime did, Grime influenced the music, it also influenced the way we dressed. Grime influenced our behaviours in terms of what we did in school, in terms of, I want to clash. Like, the clashing culture.
With drill, though.
Yeah, it's the same thing with drill, but you're not...
the way we speak. If you're not saying 10 toes, duck man down, or ching, live corn, if you're not saying these words,
like conversations you having, bro.
That's what I'm saying to you. That's what these youngsters are. Man came to, he said we got 2 this week.
Yeah.
Like do you know how cryptic that is?
Yeah.
But I managed to decode it because I listened to drill.
And I feel like
I still feel like. Go on, sorry.
Okay, so,
no, you go.
And another thing I think is that what you just said about how Grime had such a big impact. I feel like that's why drill is even more, not powerful, but is bigger than Grime. It's because Grime already did so much of the legwork. I feel like I feel like it did so much.
But drill is not. It's like to say that it's bigger than Grime today.
No, I'm not saying it's bigger than Grime today. I'm saying start to start. Yeah,
I think
it might be though.
But we're not. No, but the reason why I can hear what he's saying is because it's not hitting us. You're a grown man, yeah. You're not thinking about that dude was rude to me. I'm gonna go and shoot him with one very big, massive gun. But these young guys are actually thinking that way.
I actually can't believe it.
But okay, I hear you. But like percentage-wise, how much of the young kids do you really feel think that way?
But you know when you're listening to Grime,
but it's not.
I
think it's the same as us. We're looking at Grime in a nostalgic way because it happened when we were growing up.
When you were listening to Grime, it was hitting you, right? You know how it was hitting you. You know how you were loving everything about it. You were gassed about it. That's what these young kids are feeling.
Drill's doing the same thing.
When I tried to speak to my little brother, he's 14. When I tried to speak to him about I might as well be listening to Westlife. He doesn't want to hear any of it. He's about Sorry for swearing.
Are we not allowed to swear?
We've been saying
what's wrong with
Oh shit, I was going to say.
Whose verse is this?
Fuck shit, fuck, bitch.
I don't know why I hesitated. I'm sorry, guys. But no, like he's all about Lil Yachty, 6ix9ine. He's all about, and he's all about drill. Like he feels it. Like he genuinely
drill is
feels
a lifestyle. It's
I hear you, but he's a representation of like how many people.
People are killing
Drill's
people for
not a
no
lifestyle.
reason. I'm not saying it's right though.
Drill
Please
can
don't
only
do it.
drill can
Pray.
only be a lifestyle for you
SpacNation.
if you're part of a certain life. Grime can be a lifestyle for you for anybody. Grime is lifestyle for boarding at work.
Because this conversation deep to me. I worked in a youth centre in southwest London for 2 years, and the influence of drill beyond the young people that you would expect to be involved is huge.
What I'm
like
saying.
I got the young people that were from the streets and they were really street kids that they would come into the youth centre and I'll try and play them Kano P's and Q's and they'll be like, turn that off, man. What, you're old school.
You know what?
And then the other kids like the Oyibo kids, who aren't on that at all, and they were the ones that I used to like enjoy their company because I knew it would be an easy day. They'll be like, oh, put on 6-7, and they're from up ends to 6-7. They're from an end.
But you know what?
Well, do you know what I mean?
Just
They're
on
still
that though.
listening to the music,
But see
though.
when Grime was coming through. I hear you, but can I just say this on top of what you're saying?
But they had that in
Let me
back
just
in my
say this
days,
here,
though.
right? If you went to that same youth centre, like when Grime was coming through, yeah, if you would have said to them, right, like, let's listen to some Kano, they would have been mad on it. But if you would have said to them, you know what, like, let's listen to some Skinny Man, or let's listen to some, Fusion. Nah, man, I'm not really on that. So it's the same parallel. So the thing is,
to a drill song. The content is.
but what's the conversation
The content of P's and Q's is not violent.
Be careful.
To the level of a.
yeah, but
Yeah,
that's
it's
the
not
different
explicit.
I thought you were about to say. I thought you were about to say.
Man, be careful.
No, because
That's a different
no
conversation,
drill songs are about P's and Q's. That's what I thought you was about to say.
No, that's not the point. I'm talking about the content. If you're telling a younger to slap on P's and Q's, he's not like listening to anything that's violent. But these days, if you're putting on a drill song, from the first line, you're guaranteed to hear violence from the off, and it's consistent the whole way through.
So then the question then becomes: is drill music influencing the kids to be violent?
It's
Yes.
No.
What?
No. You
I
can't,
mean, yeah,
you
kids
can't
are okay.
be
Violent
made
kids,
violent
okay,
if you're not violent.
100%. But you, like you just said, music here doesn't just touch music. It touches the culture. It touches how people think. Like it touches their vibe. I was listening to drill today. My emails were so angry. Like they were such serious emails. Like I'm saying, it's changing. And if people hear a certain thing, when they hear certain things, they start to think it's not so far-fetched. It's something I could do. Listen, I'm not saying listening to drill music makes you a killer, but I'm just saying it starts to make that shit a little less unacceptable because you're listening to it, you're hearing, you're saying the lyrics. Come on.
I think that it is a contributing factor to something that is
exactly
already
what,
inside you. So if you are like, let's just say, if I'm a bit sensitive and I'm a bit angry or whatever, and I fling on a one thing that's gonna
trigger.
Yeah, then when I go out, it's going to be but that's not the whole reason. That's not the whole reason.
No, I'm
but
not
you know
saying
what
that's the
though?
whole reason.
But I do think that people do shy away from the fact that like the lyrics does influence some people to do a madness sometimes. It really does.
It's the
but I feel that we don't like to say that because I feel like sometimes we feel that like it's an attack on our culture.
No,
or it's an attack on our...
stuff.
But you know what? Sometimes you just have to just call a spade,
Well, you have to be ready to do a madness, or at least be close to doing a madness for music to make you feel
Okay, but being close to doing madness and doing a madness.
For someone like me, it's not doing a madness like that. It's not.
It's a contributing factor. It's a contributing factor.
But I think it's a minuscule contributing factor.
Really?
I think if you took away drill music today,
the kids would still be on a madness.
Of course.
Yeah, they probably would.
Yeah.
So then how big of a factor could it be if you took the whole thing away?
If you're 13.
I think it would be worse. I think it would be worse. I think it would be worse. Because if you took away drill music and the opportunity to do drill, a lot of people who music has taken them away from doing certain madnesses.
But it doesn't seem like it's taking them away from it.
The guys that are doing this, the thing that, and the comparison I was making about impact. Like, first of all, during grime times, how many of our favorite rappers were like going prison, or our favorite MCs were actually going pen for doing mad stuff?
He was a bad boy in jail, fam.
That's the get said that when he was out already, like
pussy.
But drill rappers now, they're going in at the peak of their career.
I get your point, yeah, but I still feel like what your argument is representing a very small percentage of people. I hear what you're saying, though. I get what you're saying. But also, what I will say is as well, yeah.
No, but I don't think any of us can really relate.
Because you're seeing, the thing is, when these things happen,
yeah, honestly,
when these things happen, there's They got these people in Stoke and Mansfield and all these places. They're going on King MG's YouTube page and they're watching everything. The majority of these people that watch his videos are probably not even from London because they don't have time. But all these people outside so interested in what's going on in London. Or this guy got robbed. Or this guy from 6-7's in prison. And then he does a video on it. Everyone's going to watch that. And they'll go into school and feel like they're the cool guy that they know what's going. Do you know what's happening down London? Fucking got arrested for fucking holding a shank and that. So it is like I don't think it's such a small.
There is an extra. It does feel like there's an extra like thing about trying to be real. Like a lot of these young bucks are just trying to be, and we've had that from before anyway, because we had that in Grime as well. These man are chatting this type of shit and they're not real. But this now. And I said this on my last podcast, actually, yeah. This is just my observation. I could be completely wrong. But I feel that, like, when MCs, when you were in the grime industry, yeah, or when you was watching Grime, you might watch an MC and you might think, you know what, sick, but I feel like I could be sicker than him, yeah. Whereas now, I feel like a lot of the drill rappers are kind of on this thing of, you see, like, Swift, for example, from Section, yeah. In my personal opinion, I feel like he's birthed a whole generation of rappers right now, but rappers have come out more on a thing of not watching him thinking, you know what, like, I could be a sick version of that. I think some have come out more on a thing of, what, my man's rapping?
Yeah.
You're a pussy, yo. Do you know what? I'm going to do that. I'm going to take this flow, and I'm going to do this, and I'm going to show you I'm realer than you. And then you have literally like a chain reaction of youths that are like, my man's doing that from over there. Nah, fuck that. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do what he's doing, but I'm gonna let him know that I'm realer than him.
The other side. That's
so
it, yeah.
That's where it's changed a bit still. But
can I ask a quick question though? In the next 5 years, you lot don't think a drill track could chart?
Yeah, I think it could.
Thank you.
I think it could. Only pure.
If DMX,
It could. Do you know why? Like anything can, like as long as it's streaming, the things just change now.
Whoa.
The things just whole change.
And
As in
actual,
top 40.
An actual drill song.
What type of chart are we talking about?
Yeah.
What type of chart are we talking about? Let's just be clear. Are we talking about a #1 record in the country?
No.
Are we talking about Are we talking about a top 10 mixtape a top 10 album in the country?
I think that's possible.
This is what,
Are we talking about a I don't know, #1 album in the hip hop chart?
Listen, I'm not like you, man. When I say chart, I just mean like
top 40.
Yeah.
She means a single.
a
single in the top 40.
no single that is exclusively drill in the next 5 years. I
disagree
I would
with
put
you.
that bet down again. None of them
Bet
are
him,
charting.
please.
I disagree.
None of them are
Bet him.
charting.
I will
Bet him
happily.
right now. Put it on camera.
None
Bet
of
him
them are
right
charting.
now.
Okay,
Listen,
are
There can be
over
a-
Keep the same energy. Keep the same energy.
You're
Check my
over
phone.
exaggerating the market so
In the next
much.
5 years.
A project can chart. A project can
Okay,
chart.
I agree with you
A
on that.
project can
Yeah,
chart.
yeah,
yeah.
A single, you lot are buzzing.
But
I'll
man's
take
not
that
hot,
bet.
did it?
I'll take that bet.
Actually, no.
I'll take that
Let me
bet.
just
Bet him.
Do you know what? When he bets,
Do
he
it.
changes the
wait.
conditions
Yeah, this is
all
what
the
he does.
time.
This is what he
No,
does.
look, you're
I just want to
looking
add. I just want to add one stipulation. There was talk. Listen, when I say,
listening,
when I
listening,
say-
bro.
there was talk.
He's smiling.
There was talk that soon YouTube views might be considered
Yeah,
to be
I
a
heard
unit.
that.
Okay,
Yeah.
if that happens, then yes, because
That's probably going to happen though.
I saw, is it 10/11? They done 8.5 million views on that Next Up song. Like, it's ridiculous. So if that happens,
If it counts,
yes. But until then, no.
But like, if that is going to happen, it will happen in the next 5. It's going to happen in the next couple of years. So, but
If
just
that
do the
happens,
bet,
yes.
please. Can we just do
Hey,
that?
but
Yes.
he's changing the conditions. All I'm saying is, I've said what I said. I think it will chart.
She's saying top 40. That's it.
I'm
Just say
gonna
when
poll
you
it.
think it chart, yes or no.
I'm
Don't
polling
add
this. I'm
the
polling
extra
this.
shit.
This is
Don't
what
add
I'm
the
saying.
extra
This is what he
shit.
does.
Don't add the
This is
extra
what he
shit.
does.
How much you putting out? How much you putting out?
Okay, let me just calculate my monthly expenses.
How much you putting out? What is it?
Okay.
£20, £50? Like, what are we saying?
Raw money bags.
£50.
50.
Okay.
Listen,
50,
I
man,
said,
Hey.
that's a sneeze. A
I said,
chew.
listen, I said,
That's
no,
a chew.
Can I
Don't
say
take
this?
that.
Top 40,
Man
yeah?
doesn't know this is my side thing.
I
Look,
said
he's
last
gonna add
episode.
his
No, listen. I said
disclaimer.
last episode, £50 bet on Young Bane going top 5. Someone then DM'd me, said, mate, I've got that bet. I went on his account and it was just a fake account. He just created the account to DM me to say that he would bet me. Like, retweet or delete time, guys.
Yeah, can we do it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you have to put
Are you
that.
sure
proper-
you're ready?
Yeah, you
Yeah.
have to put that proper.
Ready?
That proper
I
energy.
was born
you
ready
said,
to
you know.
start.
Okay, so first song on the list, it was the
AJ
AJ
Tracey.
Tracey new song. It's called Mimi.
Yeah.
You're the guest. Let's give it to you
It's
first.
yours.
The floor is yours.
I'm deleting that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm deleting that. I'll tell you why I'm deleting that, because for me, see, like you have, for me personally, this is how I go to certain artists. There's certain artists, just certain artists that I go for a particular thing. AJ is one of them artists that I go for. All right, so I just so for clarity, yeah. See, like with Drake, I don't listen to slow jam Drake. I don't go to Drake for that. I go to Drake for bars. So anything that Drake does in terms of bars and a little bit of like club stuff, that's what I go to. When he's doing the slow jam stuff, I don't go to him for that. I go to Joe for that. I go to Trey Songz for that. I go to Chris Brown for that. When I go to, so when I take that same energy and I pull it to AJ Tracey, when I go to AJ, I want to hear 140 BPM going ham with a dark beat behind him doing a madness. For me,
same thing, man. I just couldn't connect with it. Like AJ's the grime guy, but this wasn't grime for me. This was just a next thing.
Yeah, I had to delete it, but I listened to it a lot of times. Wait, hold on. I listened to it a lot of times because I was like, this is actually a okay song. Why don't I like it? If you compare it to what he does, Spirit Bomb. Am I going to say this right? Tiago Silva.
Yeah,
Tiago
I was going to say
Silva.
Tiago. Same thing. Yeah. Oh, okay. I was just a little bit worried, guys. But yeah, like that. Yeah, Luke Cage and everything. I'm just like, it wasn't delivering for me.
He's got a song on his new EP album thing with LD. It's a mad thing.
But can I say the video
that's
was
what
lit?
I go to him for.
The video was lit. Very Mist-inspired though for me, but yeah.
Okay, retweet. Okay. And I like that you said very. I like that you said. I like that you said Mist inspired. It gave me some Mist vibes. The song itself. But listen, at the end of the day, I share the same sentiments as both of you guys. But the song is good. Yeah, it is very different to what he's done before, but the song is good. So it's a retweet.
See, I think it's. Go on, sorry, I've said my opinion.
Like I can't. I wanted, at one point I was going to say delete because it wasn't what I usually go to him for. But it's just like, you know what I mean? If someone adds something new to the menu and it tastes good, then it's good. He's added to his repertoire, isn't it? He's done something
metaphors
different.
are always
It's good.
That's a great metaphor,
good
but
song.
it was added to the menu and I didn't think it was good.
Okay, fair.
That's for me.
Track number 2, we've got, it's a long list, it's Western, featuring Tiwa Savage and Mr. Eazi, and the song is called Love Struck, yes?
Yeah.
Okay, so Koi, let's go to you.
Retweet. Retweet for me. I feel like Western showed up on this for me. Do you know what it is? I thought they were going to do this thing where you have, the music wasn't going to connect, the sounds weren't going to connect, but it sounded good to me, like it came together really well. So yeah, it's a retweet for me.
Gone.
Straight retweet for me. The song's good. It's a very good
He's
song.
become quick.
It's a very good song. And one thing I like about Western, when Western do features, it's mad. It's like Western, when they do features, it becomes...
Wasn't it their song?
It's their song.
So, no, as in when they feature anybody, or when it's a collaboration, it's like everybody becomes a member of Western. It's like the whole thing is just like one band. I don't know how to explain it, but it's like they take a back seat and they just let everybody sort of work together. It's incredible. And one thing I'll say, you see this guy, is his name Louis, the third member? Before, I think he's actually might have top 5 best voices for rap. And I think...
Is it the deep voice? Is it the deep voice?
I think...
Is it the deep voice?
Yeah. I think,
like Marvin Abbey.
I don't know if that's a weird thing to say, but I think he's got top 5 just best voices.
Do you know what I said about him quickly?
Insane. Like,
I said that he reminds me of like a Pitbull or Flow Rider because he's a rapper, but when you're talking about lists of rappers, you won't put him up there. Yeah. But he's so consistent. Bro, he doesn't drop a bad verse.
He's hard.
Really doesn't. Like,
Louis is hard.
He's actually good.
He doesn't drop a bad verse.
Louis is hard. Like he used to do something called SoundCloud Sundays, I think. Yeah, check them out. Hard, bro. His flows, his cadences, the things that he says, his punchlines. Louis is hard, and I think that Louis is going to be one of them rappers that, like, when you look at some of the best spitters, you might not say him for whatever reason that may be, but when you actually really deep it, you're like, he's actually bad, and he's actually colder than a lot of people out here. But for me, it's a retweet anyway. Firstly, I really like the song. It's a vibe. I think it could do a little thing over the summer. But also on top of that, I think adding to that, like Western came out, they had Into. Yeah, which was a big song. And then like, just like for any other artist, it's really difficult to follow up such a massive song, which they tried to do and it didn't really work. And then it's like, they had some songs that was just a bit like, but then you know what? It's like they've just gone back to just doing them. Let's just do us. And now, when you actually check it, like this song's cold. And then when you start going back a little bit, you start thinking, hold on, these men are bangers, you know. They've got a run. They are actually now being consistent with their vibes, and this was just another one that added to that for me. So I like that. I like
Retweet, man. They're like 3 for 3 at the moment. I think with the, I'll even add vice versa in there and say they're 4 for 4 at the moment. And yeah, man, Hailey and Tiwa went in like mad catchy. Louis consistent as usual.
Okay, last song on the list, okay, and I already have a feeling it's gonna divide the room. Is it 2-3 or 23?
2-3.
Yeah, it says 2-3. Okay, 2-3 unofficial. The song is called "Life of Me" or "Day in the Life."
Day in the Life.
Day in the Life. Hold on, that's off his song. Let's go to Chuckie.
Nah, I'm deleting that. Yeah, I'm not on that. I'm not on it, bro.
Said he's not on it.
Nah, it didn't grab me. It didn't grab me.
He gave it 15
didn't
seconds.
I didn't love it. It just didn't. It just wasn't my. That wasn't my flavor. I heard it and I was just. It just didn't.
Do you like
maybe I
his
need to
first
hear it
song?
more in the.
Do you like Ain't Bothered?
Yeah. I do like Ain't Bothered, but maybe I might need to listen to it in a car or a different setting or a different mindset or whatever it is. But today I heard it and I didn't love it.
Yeah, delete. I feel like he's got a flow that works for him. Obviously, the one that was on Ain't Bothered, but on this song there were elements of it, but it was like he's trying to switch it up. So I kind of got lost in it. So, and I wasn't a fan of the concept as well. So delete from me.
I like the concept, but I think Ain't Bothered is the only song that he's produced that he's been the artist of that I like. I haven't seemed to like anything else since then. So yeah, it's definitely a delete for me.
Hoodie's gonna retweet.
Retweet?
It's a retweet for me. I'm saying what it is. The song
Hoodie's networking.
No, sorry.
Hoodie's networking, guys. Hoodie's networking.
The song is
retweet Chuckie as well.
Do you know what's funny?
It's okay.
Do you know what's funny? No, but do you know what's funny? What you said with he switched it up, and that,
you like that.
I
like that. It's like adding something to the menu, and it's good.
He switched it up, and prior to this, I wasn't sure that 2-3 can actually just straight up rap. Like 2-3 can rap, you know.
He's got that.
He can rap. He's actually got. The song was good. Like,
I think he's got the capability. I think he's got the capability of making a real banger. That's just not it.
And it was a step away from. It was a step away from what we're getting from everyone else. I liked it. I can't lie to you. I liked it. I think it was hard. I think it was good. And it didn't grab me from the second either. It took me a few listens, but then I got into it. I was
so you had the benefit of a few listens. I just had one and I didn't like it.
You
barely had one listen.
You know what?
The Instagram teaser.
Man, let's wrap this up.
The most punchable face in rap. Someone on YouTube said that.
That's not cool. Man said that's not nice.
Oh
that's
my
not
God. Chuckie, where can people find you and just plug yourself and
Do you know what? Yeah, everything's Chuckie Online really. So yeah, Chuckie Online, basically everything.
Where can I find the podcast as well? Just for
it's on my YouTube channel, Chuckie Online, but it's also on all the podcast apps and SoundCloud, including iTunes as well. So that's there.
Dope.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for taking part, man.
Yeah, thank you.
Bye.